Hey y'all, thanks for checking out the information. I have some slightly different digs for this video, just because I wanted to kind of change it up, do something a little different. I'll be back pretty soon doing some new album reviews. I think the next one up after this one, the next like proper review, is going to be the new Unknown Mortal Orchestra record, Sex and Food. Just writing up some notes for that, and I'll probably film it hopefully this weekend and have it up sometime late next week. I'll let you guys know if anything else happens regarding that, but yeah, that'll probably be the next video after this that you guys see from this channel, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, thank you all for joining me here, or if you're watching this after the fact, which probably most of you will be, since I think most of you are at work right now. Welcome. This is going to be, like I said, something a little different. I want to do a first reaction kind of video today. I know YouTube's full of those too, but I haven't done one myself, so I figured I'd throw my hat into the ring here. And I just wanted to challenge myself and kind of do the most, or one of the more challenging records to do this for the first time with the latest Oneohtrix Point Never record, Age of. I have a pretty good feeling that if you're watching this video, you have at least some cursory idea of who Oneohtrix Point Never is. But in case you don't, his real name is Daniel Lopatin. He is an electronic and experimental ambient music producer. He's been making music for at least 10 years, as far as I know. Goes back to his Ford and Lopatin days when he was performing with Joel Ford, who is now Airbird. You know, they were making synth pop. He was doing some vaporwave stuff as Chuck Person, as well as the Sample and Plunderphonics record Replica that he did. I almost said Returnal. That's a different album. About 6 or 7 years ago, I think at this point. Might have been a little bit longer, actually. I think it was 2011. But yeah, he also founded Software Recordings, or Software Records. In case you haven't heard of that label, I would highly recommend you check that out. Lots of great artists on there. It is no longer a label, but obviously you can still check out the myriad of artists and releases that he's put out through that label. So right now, here we are. I believe this is his 10th studio record, Oneohtrix Point Never. I am pretty excited to listen to this. I have purposely stayed away from all other reviews, all other comments, threads, anything anybody has been posting about this record, just to get a really singular and focused review going here. You know, keep all the outside influences from, you know, kind of leaking in. So I do want to let you guys know that these headphones are going to be staying on. You guys as an audience, unfortunately, are not going to be able to like listen along with me, just because I'm pretty sure that if this video has any chance of staying up after the fact, as soon as this video ends, I'm probably not going to be able to play it for you guys live, just because of copyright, mumbo jumbo, and all that. I know Facebook is cracking down on all of those things, so yeah, it has been out for like almost a week at this point. So if you do want to do the old-fashioned way and just kind of like find a stream online somewhere, or you know, download it yourself and check it out on your own time and kind of like sync up the listening experience, I'll let you guys know as soon as I start, so you guys can start on your end. I think that would be a fun little thing. Although of course you probably don't want to hear me like interjecting over the music while you're listening to it, but just in case. And either way, like I said, unfortunately we won't be able to listen to it live on your end, but I did definitely consider that, but I was like, this is going to be way too complicated. Also, if I'm hearing it for the first time, I would much rather get the full experience and listen to it in headphones rather than like through desktop speakers, which is another reason that I'm out here, because otherwise I'd have to listen to it in my room on my laptop speakers, and that would just be even worse. So yeah, now that we've, I think, sufficiently covered the groundwork here and a little introduction, let's dive right into this thing. I'm pretty excited. It's like 10, no, it's not 10 tracks. It is 14 tracks, and it's about 48 minutes or so. I think it clocks in. Let me check Winamp, because I still use Winamp. 46:26 official runtime here. So I'm going to start out with the first track, which is also the title track, Age of. And I'm just going to kind of do some live riffing, like during the song. If a moment strikes me as incredible or weird or something, I'll make in some faces or some comments, and probably just take a couple, like just a minute or two briefly between tracks after each one ends, just to kind of give my initial thoughts and then kind of summarize the album once it's all over here. So if you're watching now, I hope you can stick with me for the next, probably about the next hour. If not, like I said, this video will definitely be going up pretty soon afterwards, so hope you guys can check it out later. But in the meantime, here we go. Oneohtrix Point Never, Age of. Let's check it out. And harpsichord. Lots of harpsichord, lots of layered harpsichord. Ooh. Okay. This is getting very busy very quickly, very cacophonous. Adding some reverb. Just as it builds, kind of like fades back out, drops out. This is very medieval. It's pretty much just been the harpsichord for like the first 50 seconds so far. And if you've seen, I forget which review it was, but I hate the harpsichord. I hate it. It doesn't sound any better here. But the arrangement is nice. Okay. It's detuning. It's like he's taking the pitch wheel and just dragging it down. Now the arrangement's kind of switched over to synthesizers. Like a synthesizer harpsichord hybrid. This is like some King's Quest kind of music. This is definitely King's Quest music right here, or like Torrent's Passage or something. Definitely very 90s RPG, or RTS even. Like a point-and-click adventure. Oh. It's glitching a little bit. Okay. There was some screaming. Just without any context. Now it's turning into a horror movie. The composition is turned a bit more terrifying, and oh my god. Whoa. Wow. Okay. That was the first track, Age of. That was a lot of different sounds and noises and feelings and vibes. That was, like I said, it had a very medieval influence in that, just because of the pervasive harpsichord running throughout the track. It got insanely busy the last like 30, 40 seconds. It was just kind of so many arrangements kind of just stacked on top of each other and just getting really, really just like a wall of sound, just very cacophonous, very uh, anxiety driven arrangement there. And there was some more screaming at the end. It sounded like some dogs barking or something, or some other kind of weird disembodied, like pseudo-human vocal, just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, we're off to a very interesting start. So track 2, Babylon, 3 minutes here. Okay, this one already has Daniel Lopatin's vocals. This starts out like a very spacious love song. Not sure that I like the auto-tune. More plucked instruments, sounds like a dulcimer or something. Very spacious compared to the previous track. Much more restrained, much slower. Sounds like new age music. I don't know if his vocals fit very well over the instrumental. He sounds a little too mumbly. It's kind of hard to understand him, especially with the auto-tune kind of coating the vocals here. Hmm. Nice swell here. Ooh. This is a very beautiful section, about 2 minutes in. There's a banjo. It sounds like MIDI banjo, though. Very digital. Very grand, very opulent. Okay, now some basses come in. Fleshes things out a bit more. Oh, okay. That ended very suddenly. Wow, that was like the rug got pulled out from under that song. He was like just about to, he was on like the last syllable of the verse, and then just got sucked into space or something. That was interesting. To my ears, for like 2 seconds, I heard what I believe to be one of the hopefully several vocal appearances from Dominic Furnow of Prurient. I think that was him. I definitely heard somebody like do like a guttural black metal, like Babylon, like very very faintly in the background, and definitely did not fit uh, the context of the song, which was very dreamy, very soft, very floaty. Just like hearing him just do it once in the background, like he was just like waiting behind the mic the whole song to just like do it, and he just couldn't wait, and he just had to say it just once, and then he just didn't do it anymore the rest of the song. That was interesting. Hmm. It definitely got a lot more fleshed out, a lot more intricate, a lot more beautiful. I would say, around the last minute, or at least 45 seconds from like 2 to 2:45 there. I like that one. Get a little bit of like a R&B slow jam kind of sound. Good like R&B snap going on there. Let's go on to Manifold here. Looks like one of the shorter tracks. Could be a interlude more than likely. We'll see. Mm. Mm. Oh, that was a weird vocal sample. It was very pitched down and sounded like it was on like a warped turntable or something. Some very flat piano melodies here. Very muted. Nice upright bass. Sounds very crisp, very clear. You can hear the strings being plucked on the bass. I like that. It's kind of being interspersed with like really distorted crowd noise. Like somebody having like not quite a shouting match. Okay. Nice synth lead. Very bright and very airy. And now we're into like some David Lynch room noise. Little mini metallic passage of synths, and then we're done with Manifold. Not much to say about that. This is Station. More of Daniel's vocals here, more auto-tune. Still can't understand what he's saying. It's like a very medieval bass line. Very stop and start. Doom 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 doom. Nobody needs this information. That's all I could parse so far. This one's a little bit more subdued too, a little bit like Babylon. I like the percussion going on here, the kind of rolling claps, lots of noise. And we're getting like some searing guitar here in the background. Gives it kind of a post-rock vibe. Sounds like some digitally manipulated or arranged acoustic guitar here. This definitely cannot be played with human fingers. Hmm, nice brass in this section. This is a good chord. Now we're getting some more shouting and screaming, and now it's already gone. Now we're getting like a very propulsive acoustic guitar loop, kind of changing the pitch of it up and down. Some very mechanical sounding synthesizers here. There's more of that harpsichord again. Yeah, I like this section. This section has a good rhythm to it. And it just kind of stops. Okay. Little brass fade out there. That was okay. That was kind of like a song in two parts. I didn't mind that so much. I definitely liked the second half better than the first half. Um, not terrible at all. Yeah, I would still probably pick Babylon as the best track so far, but then again, we've only heard three like full tracks. So next up is Toys 2. I like the percussion here, like electronic sounding bongos. There's a little bit of a weird like effect on them. It sounds like they were pulled or sampled from like a Vectroid song or something. It sounds pretty new age too. There's like some choral chords here. Like an arpeggiated organ. Okay. Getting some more of that trademark OPN burst of harsh noise here. This is getting very full. I like this section here. It's already completely changed everything up. Interesting synth arpeggio. Whoa. This sounds like, at first comparison, like something off of Far Side Virtual, like James Ferraro, but more cinematic and richer, instrumental and compositionally. Hmm. Now we're like just hearing some synths, and that's it. Just chord, chord, chord. A little bit of like a breakdown section here, I guess. Very serene, but now we're getting a little bit more mechanical, some effects. There's no discernible melody. Just feels very ambient, but there's like little pockets of glitching effects every now and then here. Like swirling kind of from the right ear to the left ear. For like 2 seconds, there was like a really dull hum, and then it sounded like a Skype notification ping. That was that was a fun little spot there. Yeah, this section is pretty peaceful too. He always has a great choice of like synthesizer tones and like what chords sound like truly, truly gorgeous. I do wish he would kind of take these chords, this chord progression here, and kind of make like a traditional beat over top of it, but I know that he wouldn't do that, but I can just hear the potential of like using this and like sampling it for a different purpose. Hmm. This kind of fades out very gradually. Not bad. I like Toys too. That's not my favorite one. Again, kind of a tale of two halves. The first half is very, well, let's just say the second half is more relaxing and more spa-like in its many arrangements and synthesizer leads and pads. Very dreamy, very like reflective and zen. Now we're on to the lead single, Black Snow. This is pretty much the only track I heard leading up to the album. That was interesting. I thought its ideas were better than its execution, and I thought the last like 40 seconds to a minute weren't kind of where I wanted the track to go, but we'll kind of jump back into it here within the context of the record and see if it works any better. So, go. I do like the very menacing, like finger snap and like bass line. It sounds like it could be like an intro to a Tom Waits song or something. It's very like nighttime kind of thing and like the heavy breathing. I'm noticing the flute kind of off in the distance a little bit now. I don't like that consistent tone that I'm hearing kind of more in the right side of the speaker, or in the right side of the headphone here. Lots of very menacing and disconcerting noises. It sounds like something being scraped along a wooden floor. More intense, like, white noise, kind of creating the main texture here. It's picked up a bit at this point, you know, he adds an arpeggio here in the background. It's become a more traditional song by this point. As traditional a song you can make as OPN. Yeah, I think my opinion on Black Snow kind of stays the same after listening to it within the album here. It's, you know, far from my favorite Oneohtrix song, and not just because he's trying something different and doesn't really work, but um, I don't know. I just the extra noises, you know, the extra effects and things going on in the background, especially once the song kind of picks up in the latter half and becomes a bit more fuller. I don't really think that like works well with the more traditional instrumentation. Um, you know, I mean, I definitely applaud him for kind of doing a verse, chorus, verse structure, but it's a little too spare, a little too imbalanced, I think, to really be as effective as it could be. Uh, that being said, we'll move on to what looks like the second interlude here, Myriad Dot Industries. Just like lots of metallic popping. Sounds like a bunch of pitch down crows cawing. More harpsichord. This composition is very goofy. It's like blip, 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 blip. I don't like that clicking or popping noise. That more hyper harpsichord. And then like a ghost at the end. Didn't like that. Now we're on to Warning, one of the shorter tracks on the album. Sounds like some live, like some room percussion, some hi-hats here. Very glitchy chord progression here. Sounds like what normally would have been like one long extended like chorale kind of sound, but he's kind of chopping it up in a very inventive way. A little bit of strings coming in here, like maybe some violin. Oh, ASMR, fun. Something about a glass house, and then he's just repeating warning. Lots of... Okay, okay. This song is terrifying, y'all. This song is the equivalent of finding, like, a tape in the woods of somebody being chased by the Blair Witch. I mean, the regular instrumentation itself sounds like somebody being chased in like some old 70s Italian horror movie or something. I do like the steel pans, the steel drums here. That's a that's an odd choice, but I like it. I think this is a production choice that works very well. We're getting some very like bass heavy kick drums. I like this beat that's being presented here a lot. Getting lots of swirling orchestral and organ effects here. I wish this section would go on longer because I can tell we're almost 20 seconds until it ends. Oh, whoa. Okay. That fade out or rather that fade in to end that track was um I didn't want that. That was very creepy. That's a very creepy song. I don't like that that vibe that it kind of bookends the track with. The ASMR, like he's like literally like whispering into your ear, and it's like the way that it's like chorused or set up or whatever, like you can hear his voice kind of, I don't want to use the word penetrating, but like it's just like pressing into your ears from both sides. So it sounds like there's like two of him on either side of you just going, warning, 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 warning. And it's just like getting louder and louder and breathier, and there's just like more static, and eventually it gets like more louder as he's like says the warning, like warning, warning. And it just gets like angrier, and just eventually like screams it like right into your ear with like this harsh blast of noise. Ooh, wow, that's very effective. Um, but that being said, I still like the second half of that track a lot better, just because there's a beat and it was a little bit more cohesive and not trying to make me poop my pants. So we'll move on to the next track. We're a little more than halfway done. Track 9, We'll Take It. I'll take it. Got some like canned laughter from like a soundstage or something. This beat is very strange. Lots of tension. It sounds just like a bunch of hardware noises. Like metallic things hitting a table. Like a or like a metallic floor or something like that. Like in a garage. Very spacious. There's a lot of reverb on what I would consider to be the snare. Tons of effects on whatever it is. Some disembodied chipmunked vocal that sounds a lot like those Moonanites from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. They said, "We'll take it." This song is a very unique vocal placement. It's probably a sample, whatever the vocals are, but I like them. This is very industrial. This is like down-tempo industrial. It's a very patient beat. And we're getting like, again, some very heavy low-end kicks here. Wow. This sounds like a bunch of 1960 supercomputers booting up. Well, take it. Okay, we're introducing some actual, like, instruments here now. This is so, like, avant-garde future. Ooh. Oh. Okay. There's, like, a really cool melody. Ah, it's already gone. I hate when he does that. He introduces something super cool, but he only gives it to you for, like, 20 seconds, then he just takes it out. I like that. Do, 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 do. Sounded like the chord progression from, like, Principe Royale, that Panda Bear track. Very, very chill. Just oh gosh. Wow. That's man. I'm kind of speechless right now at that track. Well, wow. That was really, really sonically impressive. That is, I think, a great example of what Daniel can do with just random sounds and just make a song that is just a complete tidal wave of experimentation. It's so it's so bizarre, and yet it works, and yet there's nothing necessarily catchy about it at all. It's pretty much just like the beat, and then just all of these sounds and effects and textures. It's very like crackly, very it's white noise, but it's presented in a way that's much more tangible and much more um, grittier than traditional white noise. It's not clean at all. It's very like sandpapery, and it just kind of like rises up and just moves around the song and the mix in very interesting ways. And the other sounds that he introduces are complements to what's going on. Um, but at the same time, there's no real um, melody per se. So it's hard to kind of, get it stuck in your head, so to say. But wow, there was definitely so much happening in that song that was at least impressive from like a creativity standpoint, that I'd have to give it some kind of prize for like just wowing me and making me go, okay, we can still make original music. It's definitely possible. you know, if you're ever like, music's getting really stale. All songs sound the same nowadays. Go listen to "We'll Take It" by Oneohtrix Point Never. That won't convince you otherwise. That's definitely not like any song I've heard before and probably won't hear again. Um, Maybe it'll be something like this later on in the track listing. But man, wow, I would definitely recommend listening to that song out of any of the songs so far on this album. It's not the best. That still probably has to go to Toys 2 so far, but that, like I said, wins for most original sounding song on the album. So here's another 2-minute track. Same, same. okay, right off the bat, he hacks and cloaked me. Um, there's just like this big, like, and just like, just a bunch of really, really terrifying, like Halloween screams. That's basically like the music equivalent of a jump scare, just right now. Um, that was mean, Daniel. You didn't have to do that. That's a low blow. Scaring your audience, come on. There's some female vocals here. It isn't, but it sounds like Bjork. And the male vocals are definitely not Daniel. They're a lot clearer, a lot more operatic, much, much stronger. There's complete instrumental chaos happening around the vocals. Oh, this is a noni. At least the deeper vocals are a noni. I'm not sure who the female vocals are. Same. Now there's like a weird organ synthesizer kind of chord going on. Very wavy. It sounds like it's undulating and kind of got a lot of tremolo on it. Screaming. Screaming. More traditional choral sounds now, the last like 15 seconds or so. Man, that was pretty chaotic. This is RayCats. This is Oriental, very Eastern. I like the synthesizer paired with whatever the Oriental instrumentation is here. It's like a square synthesizer. Hmm. This is very nice. Now we're hearing like a kick drum, but it sounds like it's an organic kick drum, like somebody like tapping on a microphone or something. Boy, this sounds like it's coming from like a tunnel, and you're hearing it at like the other end of the tunnel. Now we're hearing some rattling metallic percussion with a little bit of wooden percussion, like some wood block or something. There's no other instrumentation. It's literally just this strange, like, found sound beat. Now we get the instrumentation. The Oriental sounds and the synthesizers from the beginning now are being put over top of the beat. It sounds quite nice. Again, I'm noticing a good, strong presence from the upright bass. We're getting like a proper snare, like a wooden snare here. Interesting textures. Sounds like vinyl crackle, like vinyl static. But like pitched down. Touch of vocals here. Just sounds like it's like, wait, no, wait, no. This song is like walking through a temple, but the temple is upside down, and everybody's faces are on backwards. Like you're walking through a place that's familiar to you, but it's just different enough that it's like off-putting. A very odd synthesizer melody there. Man, we're hearing a lot of sounds here. Oh, this sounds like the VST he was using malfunctioned. Huh, okay, okay. I don't have a lot of stuff to say about that. That was just kind of like a nice track. It gets kind of weird towards the end, just when he keeps adding instruments on top of it and like, building different melodies. But that was okay. It was definitely a very Eastern kind of sound, a little bit more traditional, a little more down tempo again, but it was pretty nice. Not too problematic in any way. This one is the track Still Stuff That Doesn't Happen. I don't know if it's like, this is still stuff that doesn't happen, or it's like still stuff that doesn't happen, like a still life or something. I don't know. Maybe we'll find some context in the song. Probably not, though. Live drums, like a jazz kit. Sounds like the vocal melody is from a different song. The vocal melody is nice, but it doesn't work with the time signature of the beat. Now we're hearing Anoni again. Saxophone. Okay, 40 seconds in, this sounds like an outtake from Bon Iver's 22 a Million, and I'm not even joking. Very, like, you can hear the brushes of the drums on the snare. Oh, okay. More harpsichord. No joy. I would say the beat gets more fleshed out here. The beat is very nice. I like the sound of the kick drum. It's got a very, like, flat tone to it. But within the environment of the song, it works very nice. There's like this weird wooden ping. It almost sounds like a submarine radar, like the noise that the radar makes when it's trying to like find a target. Now we're getting some more saxophone again. Anoni just saying still stuff that doesn't happen. As I expected, no new context gleaned from the song regarding the title. Some piano. This might be an introduction to James Blake here. Piano makes it sound quite nice. And we're getting some bass. Okay. This section here, about 3 minutes in. This is very cool. Time signature is definitely not 4/4. Or maybe it's just very expertly syncopated drums. Nice swell of synthesizers. Now the drums are gone and we're just getting more synthesizer leads here. Piano's kind of softer, pushed back into the background. Some weird auto-tune moaning and wailing. What are we gonna hear for the last 20 seconds here? It feels like it's faded out already. Literally just wouldn't fade out all the way until 20 more seconds. That's interesting. This is last known image of a song. This sounds like a sampled chord here. Ooh, upright bass. You can't really go wrong with upright bass in like an electronic R&B song. Just ask FKA Twigs. That was the best part of her song Lights On. It's definitely very moody. It's not nefarious, but it is kind of dark, kind of jazzy, just mostly because of the upright bass. A little bit of a radio static. Very minimal so far. No percussion or vocals or anything for the first minute. A little bit of like wind chimes and a touch of some plucked, I think, acoustic guitar. Okay, that's a fun little swell of instruments there. There's like some castanets. Yeah, lots of castanets. Now we're getting a little bit of like some flute or maybe some other kind of woodwind instrument. The percussion is now continuous enough that you can actually like nod your head and like hear a beat. It's not there yet, but you could hear where you could put one. Lots of reverb on the percussion here as well. Getting some more woodwind, a little bit of brass. I like the horns. I like the horns here. And now they're gone. The upright bass has changed melodies. It's gotten a little bit more active, a little busier. I love hearing that upright bass getting plucked. That is like such a cool, in the moment kind of sound. Hmm. It sounds like an alien mothership trying to broadcast jazz on like an AM radio. Oh, that didn't really end all that well. It's kind of got a really mellow thing going there for like the entire runtime. Very steady, very languid, and then it's just kind of like they hit the stop record button, and it just kind of ends. It really throws the vibe off, but the song itself was pretty nice. I liked it. It's basically an ambient song. There's, like I said, a touch of percussion that helps a little bit. Um, it definitely pulls you in. It's very enveloping. Doesn't overwhelm you at any point. It definitely kind of sticks with a certain mood, a certain vibe. It just kind of goes with it. Had some cool like dissonant horns towards the last minute there. I liked it. That was last known image of a song. And now we're already at the end. I mean, granted, we're over an hour in, but Trance 1 is the outro track here. Let's see what Trance 1 sounds like. Perhaps next album we'll get a Trance 2. I don't know. Track 5 was Toys 2, and I'm pretty sure that OPN's never made a song called Toys before. But yeah, Trance 1, here we go. Big hiss of analog synthesizers here. Huge coating of white noise. This is very intergalactic. Old, like, 60s sci-fi. Like his old, like, riffs, like, drawn and quartered. That kind of stuff. His old LPs. This is very, very Returnal era OPN. Very exploratory. I would put money on this being just another ambient song, too. Nice drone. Got some nice low end here as well. And this sounds very vast. This is very expansive. This is like you've just landed your rover or your shuttle on an unexplored planet, and you're taking your first steps, and you're like surveying what's in front of you, and you've got your little scanner, your little electronic meter, and you're taking levels, seeing if it's safe to take your helmet off. This is basically like not dueling synthesizers quite, because that would imply some kind of tension or something like that, but it's basically just like two synthesizers kind of taking turns. One synthesizer will make some chord progressions for like 40 seconds, and then you'll hear the other synthesizer come in and kind of take over. Both very nice tones, very treble-y, but there's also like a touch of low end to it as well that kind of creeps in. And yet again, we get a very long tail. We get a very long fade out. Except this one has already faded out and there's like 8 seconds left. I always like to listen to the very last possible second of any OPN song just in case, you know, it's like the Marvel credits, or especially like a horror movie when like all the sound kind of drops out and you're like, I know something weird's gonna happen, and then it usually does. But that's interesting. Like the last two tracks here, last known image of a song and trance one, kind of like letting the last few seconds just be silence there, just very, very gradual fade outs. Yeah, trance one was just like an ambient, like drone. Not quite as inconsequential as a drone. You know, it wasn't just one consistent hum or tone or whatever. But I like the textures of that song. Certainly something very, very sci-fi feel to it. Overall, super, super early first listen results. I would probably peg this album, as far as in his discography, you know, not regarding all of the side projects and Ford and Lopatin stuff, or, you know, Chuck Person things, just as like a strict, like Oneohtrix Point Never record, I'd probably put it in the middle somewhere. It's been a minute since I've heard Garden of Delete, but I would still probably put that above this. It'd probably be like just the next slot above Age of. Just because I liked a lot of the compositions and the glitchy nature of it, and at least in the album here, like in the recording, not so much the live setting that gets a lot more aggressive and a lot more in your face, but on the record, Garden of Delete does sound a lot more manageable and fun and experimental with all of its like nu metal Frankenstein fusions, whereas Age of, you can probably kind of split the record into sides. Like the A side is more more overtly R&B. I think you've got at least 2 songs, I think 3 really, Babylon, The Station, and Black Snow especially, that have that kind of R&B snap that you would only really hear in like an R&B song. Yeah, and then once you get past the interlude Myriad Industries that kind of cuts the record in half, the second half there, maybe not so much with like Warning, but like from We'll Take It On, it's more jazzy. It's not more, what am I trying to say? You know, it's more relaxing, but there's still enough going on that you can definitely tell that like OPN made it. You know, you can't mistake this for a record made by somebody else for sure. I think despite the second half being more subdued and more jazzy, which are not necessarily influences that you would peg a Oneohtrix Point Never for having, but like I said, you can still definitely tell that it's him. I would still give the best record of his, I would still give that nod to Replica, just because of what it did in the world of sampling and Blunderphonics, and just some of the memorable ambient pieces, and, you know, Sleep Dealer, things like that. The replayability is definitely more on Replica, whereas with this one and Garden of Delete, I can't really say that it's there. There are a couple tracks I'd probably listen to a couple times. Probably Last Known Image of a Song, Toys 2, and maybe Babylon. Black Snow, not so much. But yeah, not bad. If I had to throw a number on it, I mean, it's gonna sound like it's bad, but I'd probably give it like a 5. Um, not because it didn't do things right or correctly or the way I wanted them to, but just because it kind of didn't have much of an impact. It doesn't have any real memorable songcraft, any memorable melodies, or anything that would make you want to come back to listen to it again. We'll Take It is definitely a big standout. I would say Toys 2 is the big standout here as well, and probably Babylon. Um, Personally, for me, of course, it's not going to be high up on the list because of the numerous harpsichord appearances, but it is what it is. That's just obviously personal preference. But hey, if you love harpsichord, I've got a record for you. So yeah, you know, age of Oneohtrix Point Never, some experimental R&B, ambient jazz, industrial tunes for you for your Wednesday afternoon. If you guys have heard the record, let me know in the comments, even after you watch this, whether it's live or not. Let me know what you think. Did you like it or not? Like I said, about a 5 for me. Just kind of down the middle. Wasn't great at all, but wasn't bad by any means. Obviously, a lot of craft and care and skill went into this record, so I feel like anything lower than a 5 would be a disservice to the obvious talent that Daniel has, whether or not he uses it to make a classic record or anything, obviously he's still got a lot of tricks up his sleeves. But yeah, do you like the score? Do you agree, disagree? Just let me know. Thanks so much, guys. Hope you enjoyed the little live review here. I'll probably do this again in the future. Maybe not again for a while. Probably another every 5 or so videos. I think that'd be a cool way to just switch it up. But yeah, thanks again for tuning in, guys. You've been watching The Information.